Thanks for clicking. My name is Mark Mitchell. I'm a mortgage broker here in London, Ontario. The market results for June of 2021 real estate sales came out yesterday, so I wanted to briefly go over those numbers as there is some interesting data in there that's showing that we might be in for a shift in London's real estate market as prices have come down yet again. So I just wanted to go over those numbers briefly and kind of go over some tips for what might be in for the future. So for the second straight month, London's real estate market's average price actually dropped. Last month it was down to 623,000, with the previous month in May it being at 629,000 and hitting a high in April of a little over 640,000. So when we see 1 month drop here and there, it looks like it could be just a one-off, but we're starting to definitely see a trend as London's real estate starts to dip down. When you're talking about over 600,000, $15,000 dip, $20,000 dip isn't huge, but it is a reversal of the trend. When we look at the 2021 and 2020, London's real estate market has been red hot, and any change downward is definitely significant going forward. If we look at the chart released by Elstar, we can see it going up and up and up, and then it hits a peak and goes down. And that's for 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom condos and single detached homes, all throughout London and Elgin and Middlesex counties that we're seeing this dip happen. And it's not just in London. We're also seeing it. Toronto made headlines yesterday when their data was released, showing that their market's starting to cool a little bit as well. So, when you look, and it's in St. Thomas, it's in London, it's in Toronto, we're definitely seeing all the signs of a slowdown in the real estate market. Further, when we look at the median days on market, so that's how long a house sits on the market before it sells. So the median days are half of the houses have sold before that, and the other half have sold after that day. In the past few months, we've been sitting at 7 days was the median amount of time on market. But in June, it was actually 8 days. Again, it's not very significant, but when we see 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, and then all of a sudden a switch to 8 days, then we're seeing even more signs of a slowdown. And also, we can see it in the sales to list price ratio. So that's the average of what the house sells for compared to what it was listed at. Anything over 100%, and that's obviously over ask offers. So our yearly average was 113%. So on average, properties in London were going for 13% over asking price. That number dipped down in June to around 110% over asking. So we do see houses going over ask. They do continue to go over ask, but it's not as bad as it was a few months ago. So when we look at it, we have less houses going for less amount over ask. They're sitting on the market longer, and the average sale price has gone down. All three say to me a cooling real estate market in London and surrounding area. So what does this all mean? There could be a number of factors at work. I would say that COVID I don't want to say coming to an end, but COVID definitely slowing down as the vaccination rates go up and we start to reopen. I could see a lot less people wanting to be going house hunting, especially if they've been doing it for the past 6 months. There's a lot of articles out there about buyer fatigue as people are getting sick of the multiple offer scenarios, bidding on well over 10, 15 properties and still not being able to get into one. So it could be buyer fatigue. It could be people wanting to enjoy the outdoors. Generally, we do see a little bit of a slowdown now. And it could be that the market did hit its peak a few months ago, and now we're starting to see a return down to normal, a return to equilibrium, where some of the mania is starting to ease a little bit. Only time will tell as we move into the summer and to the fall market. It should be noted that last week there was a lot more sales than there were new listings. So it's definitely not a buyer's market yet, but we are seeing some signs of slowdown. So in conclusion, the best things to do is get your pre-approvals in place if you do want to get into the market. Keep an eye on realtor.ca and also House Sigma. It gives a good idea of what what houses were sold for in areas that you might be looking at. Not only did prices go down in London, Ontario, but also went down in St. Thomas. So if you're finding that you're getting a little priced out of London, you can always take a look around at the surrounding towns, where there's definitely still some good bargains. I've had clients get very lucky in some of the surrounding towns, and still be able to commute to work in here in London. So that's definitely an option if you do want to get into the market. And like I said, as always, get your pre-approvals in place. I will do an update as more real estate data gets released. Until then, if you like this video, please do click like and subscribe, and you'll get updates as they come out. Thank you.